Welcome back. I'm Dan Cummins. I tell you what, we've got Christmas is in the rearview mirror, taking down those Christmas decorations, and maybe you're buying some new lights for next year's Christmas because they're on sale. That's a smart thing to do. But you end up having a lot of old Christmas lights, and what do you do with them? Throw them in the garbage? We have an alternative for you here. This is Ty Fries from AIM Ecycling, and a great program. I heard about this. What a fantastic idea, because yes, it's awful to be throwing these Christmas lights, all these strands, and we all have them, right? And toss them in the garbage, and it just goes in the landfill. And what's your solution?
Well, Christmas lights contain material that we can recycle. So we have, in this instance, partnered up with GenoaBank, and GenoaBank's been kind enough to offer drop-off points for people with Christmas lights. And of course, they can always drop them off to us at our warehouse as well.
Where is that?
That is 5656 Opportunity Drive in Toledo. I usually say it's behind Ohio Skate.
Okay.
So we can take those in, so then A, you're not filling your own garbage cans up with things that don't need to go in there, and B, they don't make their way to the landfill.
Now, just strands of Christmas lights, or really any Christmas decoration that has some kind of lights on it, or you want us to rip that stuff off, or what all can you take?
No, the best thing to do is to bring it all to us and let us do the, the separation and the sorting and the things like that. So, but yeah, any of those wired lights, that's exactly what we're talking about, and we seem to get piles of them around Christmas time, or just after Christmas time.
What can you do with that? Do you separate the plastic from the wiring? There's glass there with the little bulbs. Right. That's got to be a job.
Well, we fortunately have partners, downstream partners in the recycling industry that we send things to that will have automated processes to separate those materials for us. So there's copper wire in the wire. That copper gets reused for, I'm sure, other wiring and things like that. Glass that you're talking about, that all gets collected and then reused as glassware again. And then anything else that might be hazardous in there, like as an example, mercury may be in some of the things. Most of our downstream partners have devices that will collect that mercury and not let it get emitted into the atmosphere.
You know, technology has taken over our world, and since the evolution of computers like in the 80s, and it's been more commonplace, and other things that come along, iPhones, there are so many needs for recycling these electronic products. Right. First of all, is your industry relatively new since that all started? I mean, it created a need, didn't it? It
did create a need. Yeah, when we first started the company back in 2008, there wasn't much of an industry per se. It was kind of wild, wild west at that time. Since then, there's been regulations that have put down. There's been standards written that, like our company adheres to responsible recycling, or R2 standard. EPA lawyers have written down rules and things to, to have us follow, and we're audited on that every year to make sure that nothing ends up in a landfill. Any potential data that would be on a device like an iPhone or a computer or laptop, we dispose of all that properly, so you don't have to worry about, anything getting in the wrong hands as far as information goes. And it's just, it's been a really interesting ride to get to this point, because like I said, back when we started, it was more like, just guys driving around saying, hey, we'll, pick up your junk for you. Now it's a real industry, really.
And there's a way to make money off it, obviously. So some of these rare metals that are dug out of the earth, and it's not limitless. So you're wanting to get these rare metals back there so they can be used for other devices.
Right. I think last I looked, well, I know this for a fact, more precious metals are gotten from electronics and are actually mined out of the ground, at least in the United States. I know that. So yeah, it's very, very important. There's lots of material that can be used, from precious metals to, just steel itself, aluminum. There's all kinds of things in electronic devices that can be reused again.
Ty, appreciate it. Before we let you go, how long will this program at GenoaBank be going for people to take their Christmas lights down to a bank location?
January 14th at the bank locations, but of course all year round, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, you can drop any electronics off at our warehouse on Opportunity Drive.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Ty Fries from AIM Ecycling.